your story can open up so many hearts and heal so many souls. So let's start. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today I have Chris Batts, and he's the author of Boom, The Life and Times of a Suicide Near-Death Experiencer. And I couldn't be more honored to have Chris here today. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here.
Yeah. So Chris has an amazing story to share, and more than a story, it's very deep. There's a lot of emotion in it, and there's a lot of transformation. So thanks so much for listening to this. It's going to be amazing from start to finish. I just know it. So Chris, tell me how you were feeling before. What triggered you to want to commit suicide?
I felt rejected basically all my life. So that rejection I had stuck with me. So it was like my heart felt like hurt. It's hard to explain. Like your heart really feels like it hurts, and your stomach is just like disgusted, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Did you feel a lot of anger towards the world because this happened to you?
I felt, I did feel a lot of anger towards the world, but more towards myself.
Interesting.
hmm
Interesting. So did you feel like self-hurting yourself?
Oh, of course.
So tell me a little bit about why you felt rejected. Who primarily did you feel rejected by?
It followed me since I was thrown in a dumpster at 6 months old by my mother, who was headed to a modeling career, so she was about to blow up, and she got pregnant, and her plans are gone. So I guess at 6 months old, she decided to just get rid of this baby and let me just move on with my life. But it was that rejection right there that stuck with me all my life. And not only that, every home that I've been to, it was the same thing. I wasn't around good people in the home. I was abused every day. Um, it was like physically abused and mentally abused, and I felt that rejection too. I felt rejection from as I got older, I felt rejection from certain girls I would date. I guess I chose the wrong ones, and I would end up being heartbroken a lot. I felt rejection from that. Um, the spot I was in, and the spot that I was in life, I seen my friends progressing in life, and I really wasn't progressing as fast because they've had support systems to help them, and I didn't really have that. So I felt behind, so I felt rejected then. So it was like all this rejection that I felt followed me up into my suicide attempt.
Okay, and so we are going to get to your suicide attempt and your near-death experience, which is a beautiful, beautiful experience. But so now, after what you experienced, what do you see retrospectively, looking back now to your life, how it was? What was the common theme and the thread of it?
Well, can you sort of re-question that?
Sure, yeah. So, like, maybe I'll share a personal experience. Like,
Okay.
I had a turbulent relationship with my mother, and I felt similar feelings to you. I can't say the same. Your case is extreme, and the level of feeling that way um, is warranted to feel rejected. But when I look back now, after my conversations with God and my angels, I think, okay, I get it. They helped me see how she was just a woman and that she had free will and that she made those choices. And maybe they were wrong and maybe they were right, but it wasn't up to me to decide that. I'm not saying that I'm wrong and she's right. I'm saying God helped show me that. And now I feel free of all those things. And I'm asking you, after you met with your angels and spoke to God, did he say the same thing to you, or he, she, God, your angels?
I felt that way too. I felt like with my mother, she was in a tough situation. And also at the same time, one thing I will tell you, my own angels would tell me about, is how when she grew up, like how did she grow up when she was a child? And her mom wasn't that great to her. So she felt rejected from her. So I guess maybe her way of trying to, I don't know, like get any type of satisfaction is to go out there, move on with your life, away from your mom, away from everybody that, all your family, everybody that really never supported you. So then you go meet some guy that you barely know, and then you end up pregnant. But then at the same time, you're mad at this child for messing up your modeling career.
And then you, me, anybody out there listening who has experienced something similar is thinking your whole heart is ripped up, your whole emotions are crushed, your feelings, and you're wondering, you feel that pain and you think it's you. And you're wondering, why did this happen? Or at least that's how I felt. So you're feeling this way and you decide you're going to commit suicide. I'm going to let you explain and go into the near-death experience.
Well, like I said, I felt like that all my life because I was from home to home, abused and everything. Like really in high school, I wasn't depressed or anything. I was really popular, so everything was great. But after high school, I saw my friends progressing on with their lives, doing what they were doing. I wasn't moving as fast, so I had a lot more time to be alone while these friends are moving on with their lives. So I just felt more rejected, started being more depressed and more depressed, and basically like I felt like I was worthless and I had no reason to be here. I didn't understand like why am I here. So that's when I ended up just planning a suicide. And like I said, the majority of the friends I had were not great friends. So I really felt like I didn't have anybody. I was alone. So that's when I just planned my suicide. And that's when I had an argument with a friend of mine, and I just stormed out of their house. And I was looking at the train stations, and I remember the times they were coming, and I planned the time I was going and everything. So when I left my friend's house, I stormed out and was walking towards that train station. I see them. I mean, I hear their car honking. They tell me get in the car. I guess they followed me. And so at this exact moment, my mom calls me. Now, mind you, I haven't talked to my mom in years. So there's only a number of times I've talked to her. So with me planning the suicide and her calling me, even at this exact moment, I'm like, this has to be some type of sign that like something special is going to happen. So when I asked her how she got my number, she said that my grandma gave her the number. And I had no idea she gave her the number. So I was actually kind of happy. I was rethinking my suicide at that exact moment because I'm like, maybe this person right here, if she could say I'm sorry for what I did to you, then I think honestly I'll be complete. So I think at that moment I understood that this rejection, I've always had it ever since I was little. So I figured if she didn't want me, who else would? Like, what kind of mom doesn't want their own son? So she says, well, I called to tell you, and with my hopes up, I'm like crossing my fingers, like I'm hoping she says something good, like I'm sorry. So she says, I just wanted to let you know that I'm not your mom. I don't want you, never wanted you, I don't care about you, I'm not your mom. So that's when I looked at the phone, and I think at that moment, I just gave up on life, period. I said, okay, I can't go to this train station anymore. I need to do this now. So I looked at my phone, like literally looked at it and said, F you, you never were. And then I tossed my phone out the window. And so I looked at my friend, and as they made this right-hand turn, they kind of drove a little further. And then I just looked at them and said, F this. I opened the door and jumped out. And that's when my near-death experience happened.
Sorry, I'm just a little overcome with emotion.
No. Okay. So what happens after that is my near-death experience. And I know I kind of smiled through it. I don't really feel as emotional about it now. I did then. like during this, before the near death experience, I was always feeling this feeling in your heart. It just, but now I'm happy about it. Um, so when my near death experience happened after jumping out of the car, I just I remember this boom feeling where I hit the back of my head on the concrete, and
Is that
that
why you called your book Boom?
boom, and I just I had remembered thinking, what the heck is going on? Like, because I blacked out, and like instantly I was like in this void. I wasn't exactly in the sky, and I wasn't on the ground. But I looked at my body and said, how am I standing here, but I'm here? Like, I'm here, but I'm laying there. How does that happen? So in this void, I feel a God slash source. I say source because a lot of people get confused when you say God. They think religion.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that you make that distinction. And
yeah,
I don't want to get you off track of what you're saying, please
no,
remember, but um, I think that it's good for you I heard a little bit about your story, and you said that you were scared because the God that you knew was somebody who might not accept you there. Tell us about that.
yeah, I felt like I was headed straight for hell. Like I was, because I grew up in churches. Every house that I lived in went to a church, but the way they abused me was so different from what I thought God was supposed to be. So, and their friends were like that. So obviously, I looked at religion in a different way. I'm like, how is a God that says they love you, they're gonna kill you for any wrong thing you do, and they're gonna make you suffer forever and ever and ever?
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah. So, but then there were certain people in churches that would do things and like behind closed doors and then go to church and claim that, well, you're a sinner. They literally call you a sinner and other religions a sinner because their religion is the only religion. And so I always had questions about that anyway. And so yeah, but so the thing was, I thought I was headed straight for hell. So when I felt this presence, I didn't see it. I just felt it. And it was love, like this love feeling. And it seemed like I recognized it. It seemed so familiar. So then I'm like, wait, oh my gosh, I have to go. I just knew it was God for some reason. I'm like, oh my God, wait, I'm not ready yet. I'm not perfect. Let me go back to earth really fast. Let me go get perfect, and then I'll be back. And then I'll be back. I felt these, all, I felt my body was weird, but all over I felt mistakes. Like I felt like these little blemishes around my body, and I was like, wait, no, let me go and move them. I'll be back. He said, no, I want you now the way you are. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You don't understand the things going on in this life I say curse words, you know. And like, no, I love you, I love you. And I remember like the first thing that it ever, I say it, the first thing it introduced himself to me, and it said, let me reintroduce myself to you. I am God. Yes, I am real. Yes, angels are real. They're a gift from me. Want to meet them? And I said, no. Oh. Before this, I didn't even believe angels existed. I never believed they existed, even going to church. So all these questions I had were for some reason instantly answered, like question by question. That's exactly how they answer. I am God. Yes, I'm real. Yes, angels are real. I'm like, okay. So after I said no, I see this projection screen of like this girl walking, and he says I love her. Then there's another one of like some guy with a skateboard. He's like I love him. And there's another one with the this guy with the briefcase. Yeah, briefcase. It's like okay, I love him too. And then I just seen this guy with his hand around his kid's neck like that, like dragging him, and then he's like, I don't like that. That was it. And so then I seen all these words in the air in capital letters. So one of the words was saying loving, one said caring, and then one said long suffering and exclamation points. And I was like, whoa, like, this is deep. So after this, He says, I love you. And I'm like, well, wait, if I'm supposed to go back to Earth, what am I supposed to tell everybody? And then he says, go and tell everyone that I love them. So I'm like, what? I'm like, so how am I supposed to describe you? And I didn't see him. I want to clarify that I did not see him. He got on, I felt him get on a knee and give me the tightest hug. And I felt the arms around me and everything. And then when the arms let go, I did not want the arms to let go. So I said, okay. So for some reason, I was sort of relieved, but I was still shooken. But then, boom, next thing you know, I'm literally in midair with a bunch of angels everywhere. And something in some of my interviews, I kind of leave out the fact that I remember I seen all these Bibles and crosses just thrown around everywhere because of stuff that I was thinking as a kid. I was so used to that Bible, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm going to hell. So I seen all these angels that are around, and I knew they were angels, but there were two in particular that I just recognized, and these were my guardian angels.
Nice.
So I remember the one on my left side. That's the very first one I seen, and I was like, whoa! There was so much light. It was bright. I couldn't really see its full face, but it was kind of shaped like a beetle. Well, I'm gonna say him because they're both guys, and so this one had like really wide wings, and he's about maybe like 9 feet or something like that. And I look, and he says, "Are you sure you want to go?" Like in a stern voice, and I'm like that's how I can hear it. Like, "Are you sure you want to go?" Then I look to my to my right hand side, and then I see this angel right here, more like a construction worker. He was huge. He was buff, and he had like a red flannel shirt, sleeves rolled up to the elbows,
So cool.
blue jeans and sandals. And so I remember just wanting to go to the gym as soon as I looked at him. And I'm like, I'm like, whoa.
Good. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So I looked, and I'm like, whoa. I looked at his sandal, and I'm like, there's so much light to you. If you were to step on the ground, half the city will be gone, huh? He says, yeah. So then he looks at me, and he's all like, you have so much to do for so many people. And I'm like, wait, me? And while they're both talking to me, I have one like escorting me on each side. So one has his arm around me, the other one has the arm around me. And they're telling me it's okay, don't be scared, because I was scared as heck. I was scared. That's all I'm
What
going
were
to
you
say.
scared of?
Because, like I said, I thought that I was going to burn in hell. Like, they're going to kill me. I've envisioned Jesus as this killer. God is this killer. This is the churches that I have been in have conditioned me like this. If you don't read this book, this is the only book you can read in order to make it to heaven.
Yeah.
Something always scared me about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I wanted to just rewind for a minute. This is such a great story, and I'm so glad to have you here, but I want to rewind. Now, I remember listening to you speak like that woman, see that woman, I love her, see that guy. Now, that woman was a prostitute, right?
Yeah, she was a prostitute.
So
I
when,
sort of try to be careful about how I use that word. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. And we should be careful because she's a child of God who's making certain choices. And I specifically called that out because I feel like in on this earthly life we label people. So good on you that you're not just somebody who made some decisions that maybe not everybody agrees with, but that God loves us all. But and I didn't interject then. I probably should have. But and then the guy who had the hand on the neck, and the messages that were coming through to you were what? What were you thinking? So that woman who was dressed that way and doing that, he's saying, "I love her," and
The same way as I do this guy with the briefcase. I love him the same way that I do this guy that's grabbing his son by his neck. But he just said, I don't like that. I don't like that he's so rough with his son.
that's
But
right.
I still love him the same way that I do that prostitute.
That's a beautiful, beautiful message because I think that for you, I'm imagining, helped you see that he doesn't, it's not the same guy who you knew that those people told you about. This guy, I shouldn't call God a guy, but this isn't the same God that you were taught about. Tell me more. Tell me more. So you were up there at one point, I think you said, "Oh, I, I'm not, I'm not worthy to be here," kind of thing. Explain that.
Yeah, like I said, when I was around God's presence, I'm like, wait, like I'm not supposed to be here. Like you're not supposed to love someone like me. I don't even go to church. I was a member of the usher board when I was a teenager, but that was it. I stopped going to church. But I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, how can you love me? I was taught that you kill people like me. Are you the devil for real? Like that's what I was thinking. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but it was nothing but love. And the same thing with these angels, it was the same thing. So as they're escorting me with one arm, and I'm just really looking at this angel on my right. So I'm like, whoa. And so they both tell me, they say, after the one on my right hand says, you have so much to do for so many people, they say, look down. So I look down and I'm like, wait, who's that? Like, is that me? So then they said, look. So I look and it zooms in like a camera. So I see, literally, I see my body laying on the floor. I was even looking like around to see like, how can I be here and there at the same time? I was looking at the outfit I was wearing on the ground and everything. And I'm like, wait. So then I look to way over to this side, then I see the friend I was with on their phone. And then I see the paramedics over me, I guess trying to resuscitate me, I don't know. All I seen was just flashing lights. And so then I look up and they say, no, look again. You need, because I'm a hard headed person. And this is the moment I started believing in angels and I started believing in the afterlife. Because then I looked on the ground, I said, this stuff really does happen? So they said, look again. So I look again, zoomed in even closer. It stays there, and I get a look at myself with the paramedics over me. But I'm like, wait a minute, I'm right here. Like, how did they not see me? I'm right here. So I looked back up, and because they know I need proof, they're like, okay, like, well, there's your proof. Like, so now I can no longer doubt. So that's when I said, okay, well, so they said, now, do you want to stay or go? And I said, uh, I'll go. Like I felt this urgency to get back to Earth and love everybody.
That's so awesome. So now you have this experience. How has it transformed you? That's my second question. How has this transformed your life, your soul, your existence?
Completely. Everything has changed. I feel so connected to Earth. I feel connected to plants. I feel connected to animals. I feel versus before, I didn't even believe in angels, so I really didn't care about animals and plants and all this type of stuff. I'm like, why do people like animals? Why do people like plants? Why are people so emotional when their dog dies? Or I was that's how I was. I didn't understand it. So okay, well, go get a new one. But I've grown to see that everything has life. I feel like I understand people a lot more. You could do a whole lot to piss me off, or you could do a whole lot to make me mad before, but now it's more like, oh, okay, like I'm just very calm now, very calm. I was like basically all up in your face type guy if I lose my temper, and then now I'm just really just chill.
That's great. Oh, I love how you talk about plants and animals, and I'm super sensitive about it. And I think people get really like, why are you so, like, we have deer in this new area, and there's a lot of cars, and I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, no, no, don't hit the deer. Slow down. I want to wear a sign and walk down the street, like, don't kill the deer. I feel so connected with the entire earth. I just love it so much. So if you could share your message with everyone, what would it be? Like, what do you want everyone to know about God?
That God, it, he, she, whatever you want to call it, it really, really loves you. And I've grown to learn that me being a suicidal person before, like, take it from me, you needed everything in the book to get me to believe that God loves me. So when this experience happened to me, I felt the urge to tell anybody I can, that especially people who are suicidal, that you are loved. Like, and somewhere in your life, there's someone that you can physically see that loves you. You just gotta actually see it. I realized there were a couple people that loved me I didn't realize did.
Oh, how did you, were you on the other side and you saw that, or
After,
after?
after.
And what made you write your book? Like, you just like, okay, like, when did this happen?
Okay, well, I honestly wanted to get this message out that, hey, this happened to me, type thing. And I actually, because I still have a communication with my guardian angels. So,
Awesome.
yeah, they still talk to me daily, all the time. They tell me stuff all the time. They never stop. And they they
You
just
are
tell
so
me,
fortunate. You're so fortunate. Tell us, tell us.
they tell they tell me so much stuff that I knew. It's like your brain is just constantly swirling around fast because you have your regular life and then you have angels right here next to you. Then it's like, wait, I have to go to work. I have to do this to go to work. I have to do this to go to school. But then here they are telling you, no, you got to do this person. You got to talk to this person. Oh, let me tell you how to do it. All this spiritual stuff. So it became so much information being downloaded. I had to start writing it down.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would do videos at first, and I still do videos of certain things that I hear from my angels. And I have a very dear friend of mine who happens to be a book editor, and she told me, start writing it down. I'm like, let's write a book. I'm like, I don't know the first thing about a book. And then she says, just write from 6 months old and keep writing on till you so you can remember everything. So I just start writing. As we start getting further into it, she started putting together chapters, and I'm like, wait, what? We have chapters now?
That is wonderful. So, I want to ask you something, and you might not be able to answer this, but I'm going to ask you anyways. Why do you think that you chose to come to Earth in these circumstances? Do you think you had a choice in it? Why did you come into a situation where this was going to be real difficult? Or do you think you had the choice? Was it a lesson that you had to learn? And if so, what was that lesson?
It's funny you ask me this. I ask myself this every so often. Why? Are you telling me I chose this? I chose this? But now that I think about it, I really believe it's somewhat karma because I believe in past lives.
Me too.
And I've had dreams and visions about certain things that have happened. And since I was like 5 years old, I've always had this dream. And I try to put the pieces together. It started from when I was in the umbilical cord all the way up until I was like maybe, I don't know, maybe like 50 or 40. I'm not sure, but like 40 or 50. But there's certain things, of course, I forgot, and then certain things come back to me in dreams. So it's a reoccurring dream that I have all the time.
What? I'm sorry. What age are you
When I had this dream,
right now?
oh, right now, 32.
Wow. And you've been having all of these experiences the whole time. Okay. Let's hear some more.
I lost my train now.
No, no, no worries. Okay. So that's your message. Oh, yes. We were talking about why you chose this.
Yeah, so I think, and I say, wait, did I really choose this? But I think honestly, it's some form of karma because I think in a few past lives I've had and these dreams that I've had, I've seen things, and a couple past lives I remember. One of them, I was like this asshole. I was a horrible person, and then the other one, I was another horrible person. So I'm like, maybe something happened to where, because I didn't care about family, I didn't care about God, I didn't care about my relatives, I didn't care about anybody. I didn't care. And then I remember on one of them, I was rich. I was still a butthole. I was a worse asshole. But then the other life, I was very poor in like an Asian country, and I was real poor, and I still was a horrible person. So I'm thinking maybe I chose to experience this life so that I could see certain pain that I may have caused others in past lives, and maybe I can hopefully get it right in this one, you know, where I can do things right this time in this life. But
Oh.
I'm really hoping I do not have to come back after this
Amen. That
one.
you learned your lesson, and maybe you agree with me, maybe the audience agrees with me, but I think that the pain of your own mother not loving you, or at least that perception, is probably one of the hardest lessons to learn, because if there's one soft spot on this earth, it's your mom, right? Would you agree, or do you not feel that way?
No, I agree. There's two things I think. It could have went two ways. I could have had my mom, but then I think about the kind of person she was. I would not have been in a safe environment because she was really abusive. She when I was my grandma let her see me one time when I was like 4 years old. I remember this, and she pushed me off of a bus because I wasn't walking too fast. I mean, I wasn't walking fast enough. So I'm like, the type of person she was, I could have either been dead or in jail or something like that. So I wouldn't have had learned how to grow up like by myself if she was in my life.
Yeah, I think God puts us, whether it's a combination of God, ourselves, the angels, they put us in perfect conditions for us to learn the lessons that we needed to learn. And I'm so excited that you shared this with us. I'm so grateful that you came out of this good. And so, what's ahead for you? Like, what are your plans to help people, and or just life in general? You seem like a really cool person, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. So do you.
Thank you.
Um, well, besides my book, I really just speak out a lot about the experience, especially to my main target audience is suicidal people. You know, the what do you call it? The underdogs, like those people, the ones that feel unloved, like because I know exactly what that's like.
Mhm.
So I try to live that through my life, whether it's to my neighbors, whether it's to anybody. I try to show examples because you can just usually say something and say this experience happened to you, but then you don't live what you say. My
Yeah.
thing is like I want to love as many people as I can, and I want people to feel love because I feel that's what we need. I speak out a lot. I do YouTube videos. I'm actually speaking at the IANS virtual
Oh,
conference.
yes. Thank you for
Yeah.
mentioning that. And I'm going to put that at the top of the video too, and at the end. And oh gosh, you guys got to buy his book. You just really do. Apart from this story, I mean, reading it is so transformative. And so that's now one final question. So you're living this life, you're still human, stuff, shit does still happen, you still feel things, but what are the checks and balances that you and your angels and your faith in God, like how does that work today when you get pissed off?
Oh God, I'm honestly, I feel them like really there. Like, hey, I mean, because even if I don't get too pissed, but I mean, I'm human, so of course I'm not like 24/7.
No.
There's a few times, there's a few times where you start to lose your temper. It's just really, really, really hard for me to lose my temper now.
That's great.
Yeah. But I could just honestly feel them like they're like, no, wait, just calm down, calm down. Think of it this way, think of it this way. So yeah,
I,
they really, really help me a lot.
I feel
But
like
they also make me try to see the psychology of the other person. Don't let this person make you mad because look at what they're going through, or you don't know what they're going through.
I feel so connected with that because it's the same thing. First, it's like I have kind of like X-ray vision. When I start to get upset, I start to think, okay, I understand what's going on here.
Mhm.
I'm not perfect, but I'm like, I feel like I've been blessed to have a vision of what's happening. They're not really mad at you. It's like shrapnel coming at you because there's a lot of turmoil and pain going on inside of them. And yeah, so what advice could you give the world? Um, right now, like you believe in reincarnation, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on right now, and in every life you come back as a different race. Like this time my parents were from Italy and I'm Italian, but maybe I'd be born in Asia or whichever. What's your message about that? Hey, we keep coming back, so don't get so stuck on one thing, and you know, don't be a kind of like a victim or something. Go ahead, tell me about that.
I can just say that any advice I can give to anybody like that, or try to live this life the absolute best way you can, just in case. You know, like just in case you have, like I said, I know I was a complete butthole in the past couple of lives I've had, but I'm sure I didn't have a live the best way you can just in case type of life. So it's more like I'd rather just live as best as I can. So when I see my life review, I can have an amazing life review, and then hopefully just have the choice. Hey, you want to stay here? I can say, I'm not going back there. I
Yeah.
learned enough. I learned enough, and thank you for the experience. We'll be here.
You know what I noticed about your experience, my experience, Trisha Barker's experience? It all has a common thread. These angels and the source acts in the same way, and that's why I completely believe, and that's why I started my channel, because I know, I can tell, I can hear the similarities in each one of them. And I think you glossed over one part. Didn't you ask about Satan or something, or the devil to God? Didn't you ask about that?
Yeah, during I was trying to keep it as brief as possible. Yeah,
I know.
um,
Sorry,
yeah.
I
There
can't
was a
let
when I was had the presence of God right with me and everything. Um, as soon as I was asking like, well, how do I explain you when I go back? And I said, okay, well, what about the? And before I could say like the evil one, I hear like something just points to my left. So I look way far to the left, and then I see like this chain, like wrapped in chain, the snake wrapped in chains. It was weird. And then like it was struggling to get out. I don't know, it was weird. And then I said, well, like what is that supposed to mean, you know? But it's basically what I got from that was that's nothing you need to worry about. That's
go.
not for you. You don't need to worry about anything. You stick with me. You'll be fine.
Wow, I just love the way that they're just like right there and right real and just with you. So now what do you think about at the end of a long, long life that you're going to have helping people and stuff? Do you feel like the other NDErs I've talked to where you're not afraid of death? Like, how do you feel now?
When I got out of the hospital, I that's when I looked up at the sky and I was being wheelchaired out. And I remember how the sky was clear, the sun was out, kind of hot day. And then I just remembered something happened to me. I'm not afraid to die anymore.
Hmm.
And I was never scared of death ever since.
Hmm. Well, I want to thank you so much. It's been so much fun. I love the way that you tell your story. And I think that there are so many NDErs to connect with different people. You know, like you said, you're here for the people who are what you termed the underdog and the people who don't feel loved. And there's somebody for everybody who has had that experience. I feel like you're brave. I think that you're funny. I think your story is one of the most fascinating ones just because it's so it's so real, just the way that you're talking. Like me? No, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. Let me go back and come back. And in that moment, I don't know if you thought about this, but you kind of knew that you were going back to earth to purify or to learn the things you needed to get to God. Like I'm assuming that. You didn't say that, but you're like, no, no, I'll be right back. So what were you going to be right back about? What were you going to fix?
I don't know. I was just gonna stop a lot of the basically words, like, cause I had a pretty, and then the temper. I had a bad temper, and I said a few choice words to like God before, not so good words. So that stuff started coming back to me when I felt that presence. I was like, oh, okay, you're really real. I believe you now. Don't kill me.
Yeah.
Because I was still under the impression that he's like, I was under this like impression he's gonna say, "I'm God, like I'm gonna kill you. You sin, so you're gonna burn in hell. You didn't read the Bible. You're going to hell." So
Yeah. Oh, wow. So what do people have to look forward to?
home. That's the only way I could really explain it. Home.
That is great. That is so good. And they got to do their best, right? Everybody's got to
Of
do
course.
their best.
Of course.
Otherwise, they're going to have to keep coming back and learning the same painful lessons.
Yeah, and it's like, why just keep doing that when we can just learn from now, just in case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Thank you so much. Everybody go out and get that book, Boom. And I want to thank you again for coming to share. I hope that you guys all loved it. If you have any questions or comments for myself or for Chris, please post them below. And thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.